Pleasure and sustainability. Pleasure is by far my most favorite nutrient of all. And my whole motto, the whole way I approach eating is your body may be a temple, but who says it can't be a nightclub? And so I wrote about this in my first book, Eat, Drink, and Be Gorgeous, because it's really my love letter to food and my body. And I make no mistake, I can be lazy AF and really just a total hedonist if you let me. I do enjoy movement, but I enjoy eating very much. And I'm always trying to push the envelope on like, how much can I get away with and still maintain, my body, my leanness or my body physique. So I've been on all sides of the spectrum, right? But the goal is, my goal has always been to have a really healthy relationship with food. And when I trained for the New York City Marathon, I hired a nutritionist because I had never had anyone take care of me. And I was like, I want to do this and not get injured and really, sustain my adrenals and not totally tank my body. So I hired a nutritionist, and I wrote down, I was in my 20s, single and dating in New York. So of course I wrote down like my dark chocolate and my martinis. And she sat there, she like had her glasses on, sat there and like circled everything in red pen and held it up to me and totally shamed me. She was like, what do you think you're doing? And I said, trying to have a healthy relationship with food. And she was like, oh no, that doesn't exist. And I was like, no, I'm going to have a chocolate shelf in my house. I grew up in a house where my mom was very ashamed and like always hiding candy. So I'd open drawers and like Tootsie Roll wrappers would fly out. And I was like, Mom, why don't you just be like my friends whose like parents have candy bowls? It's just abundant and it's around versus like hiding it in drawers. That's so silly. So to this day, I have a chocolate shelf. My son's got a real sweet tooth. My husband buys him ice cream or peanut butter cups, whatever. We can always find chocolate in the house, okay? But it's not something I binge on. For me, psychologically, just having it, knowing it there is enough. Sometimes I do have some dark chocolate. Who am I kidding? I probably have a couple squares a week. Hard truths here, no judgment around that. But I just enjoy it. But I never binge on it, okay? And here's how I learned to not binge on it. And I used to have a wicked candy habit too. Like in my 20s, I was really pretty addicted to sugar. So A, if you've listened to any of the early modules, you will learn how I personally kicked my sugar habit too. But B, I learned to kick any overdoing of my portion sizes of sweets because I did the following. Number one is you put everything in a bowl. Your mind is trained psychologically to eat whatever's in front of it. So if you put a whole chocolate bar in front of it, or if you have a square of chocolate, your mind just thinks that that's the portion size. So you are in charge of telling your mind what's what. That's really an important piece of it. So whatever your indulgence is, if it's a glass of wine, you pour a nice glass of wine. You don't pour like an entire full glass of wine to the brim. You pour 4-6 ounces of wine, or you have one cocktail, or you have a piece of chocolate cake. Okay. But you make sure that it's on a plate. You put your fork down between bites. You eat one at a time. So I will have chocolate chips sometimes. I put them in a tiny salt bowl. Again, salt bowls are great portion modulators. It's about a tablespoon. Okay. And I will literally eat one at a time. Or like sometimes, I don't know, we've had M&Ms in the house around Halloween, right? I will literally eat one at a time and eat that candy shell and then let the inside melt in my mouth. It's like a game, right? But I never overeat them. By the end, by the third one, I'm like, this isn't really even that good. It's just kind of here. So, but by practicing the art of staying so wickedly present in your eating, you never overeat. Your satisfaction can happen mid-bite. I've honed this where if we go out to dinner, and my guys get dessert, I will maybe have, 3 spoons is pretty much my max. because it never tastes better after the third bite. That's like a dirty secret no one tells you. It never tastes better, and you feel like full, and then you're bloated the next day anyway from all the sugar. So it's just not worth it to me. And I've trained myself, again, I was the biggest sugarholic. I trained myself to be more savory and not have the sugar because I just don't feel good the next day after. But establishing, when it comes to establishing sustainability, I really don't believe there's anything you can't have unless you have a real food intolerance to it. I like to offer inclusivity and abundance when it comes to your food. And by knowing, just the knowing and saying, I can have anything I want right now. Sure, I could have a bar of chocolate for lunch, but is that what my body wants? And really understanding how food impacts your body, how you feel when you eat it, how you feel after you eat it, that is also very telling. So whether it's a cocktail, whether it's a sweet, or whether it's like something really savory, but something really fatty, like if you're a potato chip person, right? Eat one chip at a time. Have it dissolve in your mouth. Place it in your mouth and don't chew or swallow it for a minute or two. Let the flavors unfold. You might find like, these aren't as fresh as I thought they were, or like, I'm good after a couple. You really don't need as much as you think you do to get satisfied. Satisfaction can happen mid-bite. So to wrap up for today, just remember, everything goes on a plate or in a bowl and in a container, a vessel of some sort, never out of the bag or like the sleeve of Oreos. Disaster. Put them on a plate. If you eat them and you want more, then go up and get one or two more. But practice that art. Go slow. Taste your food, and you will never overeat again because you will be so satisfied and connected to what you're eating and so filled with pleasure that you'll need less and less as time goes by. So coming up next, we are going to talk about gut health optimization and gut renovations.